The OnePlus 5T already got a massive upgrade over the OnePlus 5, with the brand concentrating a lot of effort on fixing whatever was wrong and also improving the low light performance drastically. In fact, in the segment that it falls under, the 5T is perhaps the best performing camera phone. However, a new challenger now enters in the form of the Honor View 10, and although the pricing has not been revealed yet, chances are that we will see a face-off like we did with the OnePlus 5 and the Honor 8 Pro. This is Sandeep from Rev Atlas. Let's see which is the better camera phone. The OnePlus 5T features a dual camera system at the back, albeit a bit unconventional. Users get two wide-angle cameras, both of which have f1.7 aperture, 27mm focal length, and 1x2.8 inch sensor size. One is a Sony IMX398 with 1.12 micron pixel size, while the other sensor, which OnePlus claims is used for the low light shots, is a Sony IMX376K with 1 micron pixel size and 20 megapixels of resolution. Despite the confusing specifications, whatever OnePlus have done has actually improved the low light performance, and you can take a look at our detailed camera review to know how exactly it works. The Honor View 10 takes a more conventional and perhaps the most tried and trusted implementation of the dual camera system, which is also their personal favorite, and that's an RGB plus monochrome combination. It features a 16 megapixel f1.8 RGB sensor along with a 20 megapixel monochrome sensor with the same aperture. The phone captures color information from the RGB sensor and details from the monochrome sensor, which should also enhance the dynamic range, contrast, and sharpness. The images produced by the View 10 are more punchier in terms of contrast as well as the vividness of the colors outputted. The processing seems more natural on the 5T, however the 5T manages to hold onto details a bit better, which becomes evident only when you really pixel peep though. Although there is portrait mode on the View 10 and 5T, the portrait mode on the View 10 hardly does anything. You'd actually have to make use of the wide aperture mode on the View 10 to get a similar looking effect as the portrait mode on the 5T. Using it at f4 would be the ideal scenario, where you would compare shots from both the phones side by side, and you'll notice that the View 10 holds on to details better and also has better contrast, while the 5T sort of loses out on sharpness and details on the intended object or subject. In low light, however, things seem to be reversed, as the View 10 holds on to details better and has lesser noise. Despite the dedicated low light camera, the 5T images are noisier and lose out on detailing as well as sharpness due to the aggressive noise reduction being applied onto the photos. Both phones also have good performance with the portrait mode in low light conditions, where the blur masks the noise to certain levels. The View 10 photos seem to be a bit less saturated and have a yellowish tint as opposed to a more saturated and red tint on the 5T. If you're using the View 10, you could also opt for the monochrome mode, which will reduce the noise further since the monochrome sensor captures more light and has better low light performance. It also gives you better looking photos than just desaturated photos, especially when it comes to skin tones. Both the phones offer similar panorama modes that are high in terms of resolution but suffer from blurring in case you move the phone a bit quicker than it wants you to. The front camera on the 5T is a 16 megapixel Sony IMX371 with f2 aperture and 1 micron pixel size. It's proven itself in the past to be one of the best. The View 10 features a 13 megapixel sensor with f2 aperture, which too is pretty good, as you have probably seen from our Honor View 10 camera review. The View 10 is surprisingly good for a front-facing camera. In many instances, we found it to be a bit better as well in terms of details and the ability to take a blur-free image. The 5T does have more resolution and a larger file size as a result. However, the View 10 adds in the benefit of a bokeh mode that can also be used along with Beautify or standalone. OnePlus 5T also has Beautify, but there's no bokeh or portrait mode with the front-facing camera. When it comes to videos, there's no competition really. The 5T eats most smartphones for breakfast, lunch and dinner with its EIS and videos, and the View 10 is no different. The View 10 footage isn't bad visually, but the lack of stabilization clearly kills the output. The 5T videos feel like they were shot on a gimbal, and until and unless View 10 gets EIS on board, there really isn't any point in comparing the videos from both these phones, be it from the rear or front camera. One good thing on the View 10 now is that it offers 1080p 30, 1080p 60 and 4K 30fps modes, just like the OnePlus 5T, and a 1080p 30fps mode with the front camera. Early Honor models usually had limited formats and resolution.
How the overall sharpness is, the stabilization, the image quality, detailing, as well as how my voice is being picked up through the camera as well. front facing camera on the OnePlus 5T capturing 1080p video. Let me know how the overall stabilization is, the sharpness, the detailing, the exposure, as well as how well it's picking up my audio through the camera as well.
I may have said this about some other phones too, but the divide is even more clear in the case of these two smartphones. If you're looking for a smartphone primarily for photography, be it with the front or rear cameras, the Honor View 10 is the better choice. The better low-light performance, wide aperture mode, sharpness, monochrome mode and more make this the obvious choice among the two. However, if you're someone who records more video than photos, then the 5T is the better bet, at least until Honor release an update for the View 10 that enables EIS on both the front and rear cameras. Even then the 5T could perhaps be better. But that's basically the difference between the two. That's it for the video guys. You can purchase the smartphones from the link in description below. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next one.